Many are shocked to find that their troubles do not end there, though its neutrality as a city-state left it largely unscathed during the Mage War.
True, which is kind of funny. Like, for example, like, what is my best example of masculinity? Well, it would be Aragorn in Lord of the Rings.
No sign of
so
undergas.
It's
He must have gone in
definitely not
already.
Andrew Tate or one
Come,
of these
let's
other,
take a
like,
look.
alpha males, right? Absolutely not. So, like, a lot of this is true. It just comes off as performative and fake.
Ah, it is you.
Didn't you say
I did, but then I realized that it might be wise to scout. Come, let us go. The golem and its supposed friend should be further down the mine.
Notice the common theme here. Taking a back seat.
Yep.
Cheerleading. Like 5 different articles I read specifically use this word cheerleading.
they will fall?
Let's burn them. Hello? My dad. Also, my dad. I was talking about movies, but
For the fire wielders!
We'll make short work of them.
Was that good?
Let me recover.
Not now. What's next?
As a masculine model. Okay.
I did not expect so many creatures.
Okay, thanks.
Strange.
Okay. Oh boy. Right.
Paula Harris's husband, Doug.
Sure.
God knows he's all the lousy enemies. Not now! A lovable goofball who was happy to
I need more time!
Just like, can you think about how bad it would
Yes.
sound if, like, God knows we need an antidote for all the lousy women in the news or all the lousy black people in the news, and I think I found one? Like, or all the lousy Latinos in the news or Jews in the news? Like, can you think about how bad that would sound? People would be
Look,
losing their fucking
up ahead.
mind. And so, like,
That must
and
be the
this is
golem.
issue
And
that
its
these
friend.
people have is
Let's
that
see what they have to say.
what they should do is they need to before they
Greetings.
write an article on this.
Don't worry,
they need to
Hubert.
replace
Judging by the
men
sounds of fighting we
with
heard,
women
I take it you
or
took care of
another
those
minority
undead.
group, and
If
then
They're dead.
think,
We're here to ask you some.
I figured.
and if the answer
So
is
I'm guessing you
yes,
heard the rumors,
then
right?
don't put men
I
in
know
their
he
own-
might look intimidating,
and
but he's
the
actually
problem
quite
is that these
sensitive.
people
I
think
promise.
that they
Good.
have,
So,
a moral mandate
What do you want to know?
that, like, well, I
You didn't
should
come here.
What are your plans?
Honestly?
True.
Yes.
That's
Hubert?
the way I see the- that's the
Do
way
you
it
want
is. So if I
apology?
said, like,
Anyway,
that's
I
true.
try not to.
Hubert is a...
He could also...
If so, it was the spirit of it.
How did you...
Right.
I know.
For some reason...
Who?
A lovable goofball who
Well,
was happy to
but
cheer
just like you can
lead
figure out the
the
rest.
vice president of
I took him into the
US.
mine.
How
Thank
long...
God for
think.
Doug Evans.
What?
Trust me.
Successful guys can
Yeah,
support their
before these
wives and be
How did you
respected.
become...
You don't have to be the quarterback to play
Well,
the game at an
maybe
elite level.
friendship isn't the
MLS
proper
and his
word for
breed of
Why?
teams
It was
were
my
giving it their
grandfather's
best
name.
shot.
The dude
And one day,
Hubert is
Whenever
a...
he has come hither
Kill?
to lost young men, as
Hubert?
the militant Andrew
I
Tate
told you, he
models
couldn't
men,
hurt a
but
fly.
they're out there,
All right,
and
look.
not unlike the
I don't know.
Golems were
will
created
appear
to
when
endure
they're
pain.
From
What my friend is trying to say is...
what do you think, Hubert?
I
Fine.
don't understand what that means.
If you think it will help us understand...
Thank you, sir.
What?
the right
Then let
time
us
to
begin.
give young men a return to the good
Mm-hmm.
times of the glorious past. You know, the one your grandfather had. The
Interesting.
Coca-Cola ad rose
Truly
tinted version of the past.
So, what did you...
Not much.
Support a family
But let me
of
just-
one income, while the rest would historically, in my opinion,
So
have
let
the
me be
policies
brief.
to make
I
that
inspected
happen
Hubert's
are
magical
instead
core,
trying
and it is
to
rather
solve
unusual.
vision.
It's overflowing with Unfortunately, I believe that the very same irregularity is...
It is very likely that it will eventually get out of control and cause an explosion unlike anything this land has ever seen.
To me, it appears we... I do not think I should make that choice. I consider myself a rational person, but I'm afraid that my fascination...
Couldn't we just take him somewhere?
I'm afraid that's out of the question. We just don't know what the long...
We can't do this. This is a scent...
Forgive me, but this is highly irrational. You are a mage, so you should be able to sense it yourself.
He's right, Tahar. This creature.
Also, there is a slim chance that harnessing the power of his core would...
What do you mean by...
Well, the possibilities are endless. If we can replicate the structure of its core and stabilize it,
Obviously, there is no guarantee these experiments will bear fruit. If I had to make a guess, I would say that there is a 40% chance that the golem will be stabilized, and we will be able to harness the core. A 40% chance that it will die in perceived agony, and a 20% chance of triggering the devastating explosion. Of course.
Have you perhaps tried
Understood.
Yes, we've been doing that.
So,
Yeah, that's why they're
what did
voting.
you and your friend talk about?
Well, there's no good way to say this. Hubert's magic core is very unusual. It's overflowing with energy. The only way to save him is to. I'm sorry, but it's the only.
You bloody monster! No! There's no.
Rick, you're outnumbered, and I'm offering you and Hubert a chance. Don't you see it? You can either.
Well, I guess you're right, aren't you? I don't have a chance against you all. Hubert?
What a great advertisement.
Yes.
Well, I must say that I'm happy you made that decision. I will go back to the. I will see you there.
Crazy bitch. Don't you want to keep her around?
I'll be swift. You read my mind.
No, not really.
Anything on your mind?
Like, also, what's really funny about this is that there's a lot of women that voted
I'll do what's
for him,
required.
too. It's like this whole thing where it's like, oh, women don't. That's not. It's not even true. Yes, it's just stupid.
Young men should know that if you vote for Trump, you're basically never going to get laid.
Of course.
Let's
Okay.
burn them.
Here's the problem.
They will burn.
For the
a lot
fire
of them
wielders!
already aren't getting laid.
Ah!
You picked the wrong
You
enemies.
can't lose something you didn't have.
Prepare yourselves.
Nothing changes.
I mean,
yeah.
is it incorrect?
Trump gives girls the ick. Vote Harris, get laid. I love how she blocks out the person who this is, but everybody knows who this is. Everybody knows it. I mean, is it incorrect? I didn't think so. Yeah.
Don't think so. Trump gives girls the ick. Vote Harris, get
I'm gonna be honest. I think that if I was around a girl that got like what was called the ick, I would be considering myself lucky because I just avoided a ticking time bomb. It is a emotionally unstable, completely illogical thing that happens that shouldn't be taken seriously.
That way.
This
Got
whole
it.
idea
Alright,
that like women are like these emotional babies that need to be like coddled and protected, and you need to act in certain ways so they don't get upset or like get mad. Like you're basically treating them like children. And the fact is that like there are a lot of
Will
women
do.
that don't think like this, they don't act like this. You just talk to them like normal people, and everything is going to be fine. Who says that? All of these commercials are all saying this.
We'll make short work of them.
laid. They are not meeting the to get laid allegation.
Yeah.
Literally just
And by the
endorse.
way, I do think guys do that. I absolutely think that guys do that. They'll mask their political beliefs in order to get girls that are like very politically motivated or like have strong beliefs to like hook up with them. Yeah.
Fishing. When men pretend to be more progressive on dating apps to get laid. Do not do this, by the way. Be open and honest about your opinions. And no, you cannot fix them. Pretty weird and like low-key sexist. Why like women are surprised for voting the correct
It will be
way.
bloody.
Hey, and all else.
That's all. It's always a good thing whenever women who are against objectification commodify their bodies as a reward for doing some sort of action, like it's a payment. But hey,
Yes.
well, totally normal.
Yes.
Bells, go after
Blazes.
They killed one of our heroes.
Help me!
You can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm the Republican congressman. We're in charge. We're banning porn nationwide.
It is really funny because of how stupid it is. It is. That's perfect.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
love this ad. The one time they speak to men directly, and it's, hey men, the Republicans are gonna take away one of the only vices you use to numb the pain. So
That's
vote
right.
for us. Bleak. Just the absolute
Yes?
state of the world right now. Also, was that Germa? Believe it or not, this wasn't the worst of it.
I'm a man. I'm a man.
This was crazy. Like, it's actually insane how ideologically captured they are by identity politics. It's unbelievable to me that they just keep, it's like the stop hitting yourself thing. You just can't stop talking about this, fixating on it, thinking about it. It's unbelievable. Like, I actually, as I said, I thought that the woke mind virus was like a stupid term, but after seeing how these people literally can't do anything other than identity, I'm starting to take it a lot more seriously. Because it literally feels like it's some sort of like a spell or something like that, like some sort of like collective delusion.
Now would you look at that?
I'm a man, man, and I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat. Man enough to cook my steak rare.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild?
Why would you be? Why is eating your steak rare or being a man?
Carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast. I'll tell you another thing.
I could believe that.
Thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
When I first saw this, I thought it was a parody created.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what to say. Like, why would a guy be afraid? It's just like, oh my god.
By Republicans to make fun of how hard the Democratic Party is trying to pander to men to get their vote. But alas.
I love women.
I love women to support their families.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Everything from them directly.
Oh my god. I can't even play out what an advertisement like this would be for minorities. Like, think about the parallels that you could do for a minority group. Oh my god. Oh my god, that would be so fucking.
Let me recover!
Toward yeah. This tone of self-deprecation. But apparently not now.
2012. What do you say?
You picked the wrong enemies.
Last time around by 50.
Sure.
They killed one of our heroes.
The reason why more people voted for Obama is because he's a better candidate.
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's wealth.
That maybe the reason why there's a change in voting is actually because of the people that are running. Like, I don't know. I mean, no, that's not it. Right, okay. It's my identity.
And then you take a look at the average of Kamala Harris. It's up like almost 40.
Democrats support the ultimate president, Barack Obama. At a campaign stump for Harris on Thursday in Pittsburgh, Obama said that despite Harris raising upward of $1 billion, we have yet to see the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
That's because you were a better candidate.
Help me!
Do you think Barack Obama would come up and say good morning 6 times in a row and how are we doing 4 times in a row? No. He didn't talk like a fucking idiot. It's so fucking obvious. How is anybody even thinking about this? Yeah, there's no twerking about it. Says, yeah, it's... Also, people knew Kamala a lot less. Sure. This Obama called black misogynist? I don't know about that. I didn't watch it. I'm just saying in general, right? Like, whenever he was running for president, people liked him a lot because he represented a lot of the people. Like, he was like against the war in Iraq, and he wanted to move the troops to come back. It didn't happen, but like that's what he ran on. And so of course people were supportive of that. Absolutely they were. That's why people are blaming the fact that Kamala is a woman. Well, I mean, even if you compare like her numbers to Hillary Clinton, who also was a woman, like it's just at a certain point.
Of course.
Maybe instead of like,
They will burn.
Blaming every single thing that they can't control, except for the one thing that they can, which is their message. It can't be our message. There has to be some sort of like existential reason that we can't control.
Sure.
Complain about so we can displace accountability over to that.
false reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to them directly,
They killed one of our heroes.
they just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman for president.
Get up.
They're coming up with other alternatives for that.
I am ready.
They killed one of our heroes.
Come on. Don't die on us now.
And then she decides to nuclear bomb kids.
Corporal,
Like, I can fucking promise you that there
As
are
you want.
nice guys out there that are like, you think I'm
Yes.
gonna vote for a woman? My girlfriend is crazy. I've been married to a woman 15 years. Oh my god. Nope. That's crazy. No, but that's it. And like, what they don't understand is that, of course this is a
Zarek got me.
it's the same as women that vote for her because
Got it.
absolutely. Like, I can guarantee millions of women who,
Yes.
if all of their variables were the same, if Kamala Harris wasn't a woman, they probably wouldn't have gone out to vote. And so, women are and this my understanding is that women have a very getting much higher than men.
Not now!
is there anything you need? Understood.
Zarek got me.
Sexist, and you're just like the shaming for having certain viewpoints has just been diminished and damaged.
I'll do what's
So many
required.
times that people have cried wolf, and it really wasn't a wolf. Like, for example,
understand.
Game was about
Sure.
hating women. No, it wasn't. It was about game reviewers getting money and getting preferential treatment for giving reviews for games, and like trying to turn this, oh, it's about hating women. No, that had nothing to do with it. Like,
I will
they
stay.
try to turn it into that. But at the end of the day, that's what just becomes less effective after so long.
That way. All right.
Of course.
The sexism card. In fact,
Understood.
We'll make short work of them.
I understand. Got it.
What's done by other people and not her herself. And I think this is a
Sure.
Fire wielders!
I was
Yeah,
proud.
she's completely right. Absolutely.
It's like they finally learned from Hillary Clinton's failures.
picked the wrong
They
enemies.
got the media over Barack Obama from doing it for her. Thanks, Obama, for all these.
Help me!
Understood.
We're getting ready to film this video out of war. When Kamala was apparently on the hotline saying we need to move around a little bit. So what we're gonna do is
See if she talked like that. She probably would have had a better chance of winning. You talk like a fake psychotic bitch.
Got it.
Who wants to vote for the children?
men like beer, right?
That way. All right. Anything on your mind? Sure.
I'll take a look.
As you want.
Zarek got
I understand.
I'll do what's required.
Dress them up.
Stand a
Want to know how
chance.
to speak to men? Go to where they are. A good place to speak to young men is the Joe Rogan podcast.
It's so funny Yep.
I hinted at going on, but then that never happened, and instead...
Jokes flip the election. The crazy thing is that, like, there were people that were, like, interviewing guys.
Sure.
I'll be swift.
They killed one of our heroes.
And they were like, so why, who are you gonna vote for? Oh, I'm gonna go with
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's wealth. The glittering...
I don't know, probably because she lying about everything. Yeah, I mean, really, that's actually
Will do.
That's got a good point. She could bullshit for 45 minutes, but 2 and 3 hour shows the real you. She only wants to do 45 minutes. Yeah.
That way. All right.
They will fall.
They killed one of our heroes.
6 million views just on YouTube. Man.
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's wealth.
Oh my god.
Just one of the most popular podcasts in the world with a majority young male.
I'll be swift.
By the way, I do want to say that
Prepare yourselves.
a confession on X is less than a
I'm only getting started.
This is like a social media thing where like a view is an active engagement, whereas a confession is like
Understood.
just
You read my mind.
Let's burn them.
YouTube, you can hit it and trending.
Sure.
But you'll be blooded.
You picked the wrong enemies.
Every time we talk about the topic of Andrew Tate
Right-wing radicalization that is being especially in younger males.
Sure.
Got it.
Zared guys.
Playing video games.
Got it.
Understood. I understand.
Everything that they see is right-wing sentiment being expressed by
Whatever's necessary. I'll make it quick.
They killed one of our heroes.
Where content
Help me!
Die on us now.
Just stay with me.
because this right-wing content
Yes, will do.
see the way that people see
They killed one of our
and the way
heroes.
that guys feel. So it's not that there's a bunch of right-wing
Don't die on us now.
Help me,
I'm
somebody!
injured.
racist or to be Nazis. It's that there's a lot
What
of
do you
They
mean?
killed one of our heroes.
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's wealth.
Is
The glittering...
that reflects what their
Understood.
So it's like, and this is kind of the way that like content. That's really how it is. Joe Rogan's the right wing, is the right one. Well, I think that it's definitely true that there are a lot of young guys that are extremely attracted by right wing content. And I think that's
They killed one of our heroes.
it's very clearly a trend, and I think that the election.
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's
Why is
wealth.
that trend happening?
The glittering
The
mind.
trend is not happening because content creators are right wing. I think the trend is happening because people are right wing, and content creators are adapting to that, or content creators that have those same viewpoints are being elevated because those viewpoints are shared with a large audience.
They killed one of our heroes.
Do you see kind of what I'm saying?
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's wealth.
Becoming more the case. Alex Jones, except for being president secretary.
Got it. You read my mind?
They killed one of our heroes.
Let's finish this video.
That algorithms for
Oh,
so
man.
much assumption that any descent from liberal
Nowadays, few people remember the reason for Everlight's wealth. The glittering...
It's a vicious cycle. And I think that the cycle begins
We'll make
with
short
people
work of it.
looking for content that respects them. And when you create content that respects a person and tells them that their
Got it.
opinions and their beliefs
They killed one of our
are
heroes.
not racist, evil, or bad, they're going to
die
be
on
like,
us
yeah,
now.
I agree with you. And there's a lot of guys that feel disenfranchised, and I think that
They will fall.
things like right-wing places do a much better job.
I'll do
That
it
way.
quiet.
All right.
For the fire
I honestly think that the reason why there's a lot of right-wing podcasts and stuff is because there's a lot of guys that are looking for it. The popularity of the podcast is precipitated by the fact that there's a lot of people.
I'll be swift. Will do.
The podcasts are making it. It's a podcast elevated by a lot of people that already.
We'll make sure.
Understood.
Sure. Sure. I understand.
And they were demonized.
Of course.
Learned that the Democratic Party didn't do enough to speak
You
to
picked
that
the wrong
demographic.
enemies.
Sexist, racist, he was backstabbed multiple times and cheated out of winning the Democratic
She's in therapy now.
That's all? Sure. I'm only getting started.
It's obvious. His campaign was too white and too male, and this apparently was a top
Got it.
remedy.
Understood.
Killed one of our heroes.
Here's the thing.
Don't die on us now.
Don't die on this, friend. Just stay with
How
me.
about that? They fixed the glitch.
Got it.
We were told he was just like Congress.
Whatever's necessary.
It doesn't matter whether you think that your message in the game should be there or not. If
As you
put
want.
a product out to
It
market
will be bloody.
and people don't buy
I'll be
the product,
swift.
then you go out of business. It doesn't matter whether
I'll do what's
I
required.
understand. Sure.
everybody's following the police foreclosed.
Sure.
Studio gets sold. You're finished. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong.
That way. All right.
And these people are so attached and like so captured by their ideals and morality.
Sure.
Will do.
But even so,
We'll make short work of them.
Interesting.
Doesn't matter if you're red or left. Yeah, sure. Popularity is such a good word. Yeah, exactly. Appealing to people is what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Good move.
Issues, bread and butter issues, and populism was
Sure.
naturally attractive to men. No football or beer required. I miss him. And you know what? Maybe this shift with young men has less to do with who's holding the football and more of what happens when the DNC spends all their time and energy trashing the little bit of populism in their movement. And if you ask me, handing conservatives a monopoly on anti-establishment rhetoric on a silver platter was probably their first mistake. They kind of gave up on that bread and butter New Deal.
Well, you can't really say that you're the establishment when every single person that has a mainstream media television show has the same viewpoints that you
I am
do.
ready.
Like every late night talk show host
Yes.
is doing a monologue about how Kamala Harris should win the presidency. You can't talk about how you're not the mainstream when you have all of these A-list celebrities getting together to collectively condemn people that vote for Donald Trump. Like, it's very obvious that this is the majority opinion of people that are part of the establishment. And just because there's a large contingency of people on the internet who don't represent that doesn't mean that the establishment isn't working tooth and nail to try to fight that from happening. Look at how much they tried to demonize and like demonetize and kick Joe Rogan off of Spotify. Think about how much they're trying to stop free speech on Twitter or X. Think about how much before Elon Musk bought Twitter or X, how much they did stop free speech on there, how much they tried to control things with COVID, how much they tried to control things with election misinformation. It's just so obvious. And any normal person, and this is really what the problem is, it's that every reasonable, normal, average guy can see exactly what I'm talking about. So when you tell somebody that they can't see what's in plain sight
Corporal?
directly in front of them, they're gonna hate you for it. This is the reason why, like, theocracies usually fall with religion. It's because eventually people are tired of living a lie. They're tired of living their life according to a set of principles that they don't feel like represents them, and that they have to actively forego their critical thought. It's literally Orwell? Yeah, it is. Well...
Yes?
Yeah, yes and no, right? But yeah. It's basically gaslighting? Yeah, I would say so. Actually, no. Yeah, no, it is Orwell.
If you insist.
Right. I don't know about that. No, remember how, like, the, like terrorism is peacekeeping and stuff like that? Like, all the different, like, phrases about how the, the main party, like, controlled all the vocabulary? I think that if you look at it through that, this is, like, with 1984. Yeah, I actually think that's a good example. Sure. The doublespeak moments? Yeah.
Stuff for identity politics, and if you deny this, you are either lying or coping. Yeah. The physical manifestation of the left has gone from the vision of the blue-collar union worker to a nagging, scolding fat woman with blue hair, barging in
with a nose piercing.
Into everyone's spaces and culturally
coming into Warhammer and saying there's not enough women.
Ah, there you are. In case you were wondering, I sent 2 mages to help Richard and Hubert find their way to the guild. I'm still fascinated by the idea. Either way, I am ready to join you.
Years of anti-male rhetoric finally come back to bite the left and Democrats in the ass.
And I think that also what's going to happen, like, I remember I saw this tweet from old Nick.
As you require.
He goes, "Your body, my choice, forever." And now, the thing is that now they won. And once somebody wins once, they're gonna be like, well, wait a minute. Maybe we can do this and the other thing too. But you know what? Where is this Project 2025 shit? Let me read this again. Because, like, yeah, now that you think, like, let's actually think about this. He's not pro-Trump, Baldy. He's not pro-Trump. But as soon as Trump wins, he goes like, we did it. He spends all his time complaining about Trump, saying he's not going to vote for him. Finally, Trump wins, and he says, we did it. Uh-huh, for sure.
These chickens come home to roost has just been both incredibly depressing and deliciously vindicating to me in a sick way, and I'm not sure if I should lend out a helping hand or Mufasa them off this fucking cliff. Some Democrats are nervous the party was too late to realize the problem. These Democrats worry that the party has focused too much on courting women voters, LGBTQ voters, and culturally progressive voters, alienating too many men in the process. There's a recognition that we're losing men.
Well, here's the thing. It's that if you use drag queens to promote a political message, that political message is going to lose. Drag queens are not socially accepted by, like, average populations of people. Like, if you go to Walmart and you find 5 random Walmart citizens, Walmart Americans, they're probably all going to have the same reaction to a drag queen. And I think that we all know what that reaction is.
Things we're doing around men haven't been working. I think a lot of it is a reaction to social progressivism done the wrong way, says David Hogg. Young men, he says, feel like progressives look down on them for saying the wrong thing, even when it's a mistake. That discomfort is enough to drive them away from the Democratic Party.
Yeah, exactly. Why would somebody want to, like, it's very simple. It's like, when you're dealing with somebody who, have you guys ever been around somebody, like, this is especially true with, like, toxic girlfriends? Have you ever been around, like, a girlfriend that, like, if you say something the wrong way, it, like, immediately activates her hard mode, like, fucking, like, max difficulty, attack phase? You guys ever had this happen, right? And it's like, do you understand like how like, you know, you're like fucking like tiptoeing through pins and needles, like trying to avoid.
I must say,
with Mulindir,
it seems. Tell me, Tahar, what do you make?
Maybe.
But I believe we stand on the verge of a change, and to me, it is evident. Why?
It's because they don't
Understood.
want to have to walk on eggshells around people all the time. They don't want to have to take their words and filter them through 5 or 10 different, oh my god, what if people
Corporal?
think that I'm saying
Need anything?
this about this
How you holding
racial
up?
group
Fine,
of
I guess.
people
You
or
know,
about
Corporal.
women?
Yes.
Basically,
Well,
there's been a
not knowing your
massive,
mother and all that shit your
massive
father put you
push,
through.
and this happens on social media
Do you
all the
ever
time.
feel...
Why do you want to know?
Oh,
Massive push
I'm
of
just
taking what a
wondering, I
person
guess.
says
So?
Yes.
and then
I figured. You know,
extrapolating it to, like,
save for the
its
fact. How
worst
are?
possible
Simply put, I also didn't know my...
What happened?
It's all right. As I said, you are pure blood. As well, now, in other words, the closer your blood ties would... Yeah, and I can't even remember all those festivities.
How about
Which with that, I just never felt...
What was
Isn't it obvious? He wanted...
I see.
Where's dead as a doornail. He got assassinated. He got mistaken for someone else. But it doesn't really matter.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you see, Tahar, or if the murderers lied. And even there are two explanations. Number one, the Guardians are far less powerful than we think. Number two,
Or maybe rich.
yeah, the gods aren't. So you can either sit on your buttocks hoping that some god will take pity. No,
Why?
well, if you had the power to enter,
But you...
yeah. Anyway, I'll see you around, Tahar. And thanks for listening. Corporal, need anything?
You know what it makes them?
Goodbye.
It makes them a homophobe or a bad person. And fundamentally, people just don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be told what to think. They don't want to have to walk on eggshells around people that are, in a lot of cases, I think, mentally unstable. And they don't want to deal with it at all. And so it's an unfortunate colloquialism. Well, I mean, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, whatever term that, like, there are a lot of terms like this. Like, you could use, like, there's terms like, I didn't know
Unbelievable.
tar baby was
Must be
one
quite the...
that
Yes, you
be
could.
used
Oh,
as,
well.
like,
Weapons?
I will.
as a derogatory
Thank you.
term towards, like, black people.
Everything
Growing up,
from
like, this
copper
was, like, just
daggers
a
to moon
story
silver
of, like, I
swords.
learned. I used the
Come
term all the
again.
time. People got
May
mad at
Tiara
it.
bless your path.
And, like, for me, like, I'm involved with controversies like this all the time. So I don't really care a lot about it. But, like, I know that there are certain streamers that don't even want to have Starbucks on their screen because they're afraid that people might get mad because Starbucks is seen as being promoting and favorable towards Israel. You see what I'm saying? And so people don't want to live with, like, that level of, like, restrictive behavior. Is that based? Yeah, there are, and I think retarded is another one. Like, people that use the word retarded don't want to be told not to use that word. And I think that if you want to take a step back, people don't want to be told what words they can and can't use, period. And you see this on Twitter. As soon as Elon Musk took over, I bet the usage of the N-word went up by 1,000%. No, that's not true. Probably 10,000%. Yeah, because, or the F word. I see, oh my God, people are really trying to bring back the homophobic F word. They're trying to bring it back in a big way. I can't even read Twitter without seeing it all the time. And do you want to know why? It's because people don't want to be told what they can and can't say. They don't want to be given a list of words by some loser and be told, no, if you say this, we're going to try to systematically destroy your life.
If you insist.
Because you know what happens? Whenever you tell that to enough people, they decide to systematically destroy your life.
Can you tell me
instead.
more about you?
And that's exactly what happened.
As he
with the
should.
election.
What do you want to know?
So-
That's
Well,
exactly what
it
happened.
depends on
It's
how
because if
far
you try to-
before.
You-
Yeah, because,
How come you-
well,
what to do,
there were a couple of
eventually
reasons.
they'll turn
I'm-
around
Yeah,
and
at
they'll
doing
start
good
telling
while
you
not
what
being.
to do. Basically,
That's all
yeah,
for now.
yeah. And
Will
it's
do,
going to
Taha.
keep-
Fortune
this is what
favors
my
the man with the
opinion is.
crossbow.
I think that we are going to move towards an overcorrection. And I think that conservative viewpoints and conservative, like, and I'm talking about like extreme conservative viewpoints, will continue to get more and more traction as an overcorrection because people are tired of like being told what to do or what to think. Yeah, pendulum swings back. Yeah, and I think that people are swinging back. And the thing is, what's different about it this time, I think, is that people know it. They know it, and they're doing it because they're like, you made us live with our mind in a cage. Now it's time to put you in a cage. And by the way, way, Trump said on day one, a lot of people probably might be going in cages. The mass deportations. Done. That's it. And so, I feel like, and people like to, you know, like they like to fight against this and like to say like, oh, well, this is the wrong thing to do. Well, does it really matter who's right or wrong when you're the one that's in the cage? Not anymore. That's it.
They don't necessarily agree with Republicans. They would rather be around someone they don't agree with who doesn't judge them, than somebody they do agree with who judges them constantly.
He's totally fucking right about this, by the way. 100% right about this.
Men aren't moving right because they are choosing fascism. They are moving right because the left made them the villains in their anime fan fiction. It's not that they all like Trump, it's that they all hate you. And no amount of camo hats is going to fix that. But do not get it twisted. I do not in any way, shape, or form believe the GOP is going to help men. I don't think they're going to help anyone. Except maybe Israel. Do I think all of the left?
I agree with that too. Like, you know, somebody says like, oh, well, you can't get abortions anymore. It's like, oh, fuck, when I have to pay child support. Like, that's the first thing I think. The fuck? You gotta get a coat hanger? Jesus.
Just some hyper woke fat lady wagging her finger in men's faces like no fun allowed? No. If I did, I wouldn't call myself left.
And this has happened a lot. Like, I've seen this happen constantly where it's like women that are, I don't even really know if it's women. I don't want to categorize this all as women. But I think that it's like people that are like complaining. They're like, I'm really bothered by how much people are using the word retarded, or I'm really bothered by how much people think this joke is funny. Like, people shouldn't be joking about this. This isn't funny. You shouldn't be allowed to. Like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Don't tell me what to say. Just period. Whatever you're gonna say, I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is, what your problem is. It doesn't matter.
Wait, I'm not a Democrat. I'm a registered independent.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party is historically better on policy, and despite their messaging, even when it comes to helping men. Healthcare, higher wages, paid family leave, labor protection, Social Security, things Republicans have always fought against. And I think that's why this is extra frustrating to me. I don't say this with any love for the Republican Party. In fact, if anything, I say it with love for the Democratic Party. I can hate them, but deep down, I wish they could be better. I'm doing this for your own good.
Yep. This hurts me more than it hurts you.
I just hope that whether Kamala wins or loses, the party can take a step back and evaluate what they're doing wrong. Because
They're taking a step back to have a support group for each other and talk about how much they want to kill Donald Trump, how much they want to kill themselves, how much they want to kill their family members, and how much they want to kill their unborn babies.
I don't think the Democratic Party should be the party for the gays and women. I think the Democratic Party should be the party for everyone, including angry white men. So in your opinion, what could the Democratic Party do to win back young men? Can they do anything? Are they To me, it might take decades of work to fix the culture, the rot that
I don't think that they can do it. I think that they're so captured by identity politics and like the logic and philosophy of like intersectionalism that they cannot undo this. Yeah, stop identity politics. Like I feel like basically the like Donald Trump brand of like Republican politics will exist for the next 20 years. Like after Trump like finishes his term, it's not like, oh, everything's going to go back to how it was with Mitt Romney. There's going to be, like, I bet that there's probably going to be somebody who is even more, like, they're probably going to say, you thought it was good now. You thought Project 2025 was bad. Wait for Project 2028, you know?
Fest the progressive ideology. It is going to take a lot of work.
That's what's going to happen.
But I think it's worth it, not just for the Democratic Party's sake, but just for society's sake. If you like this video, please consider donating to my Patreon, link down below. It really helps the channel out, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for 2 million subscribers.
That's a lot of people.
And I will see you guys with a new video soon. Bye!
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really good video. Give it a like. This is so good. Like, I wish there were more people that talked about this kind of stuff, because I feel like there's a lot of this stuff that needs to be talked about. Such a great video. Yeah, this was so good.
What is the full spectrum of individuals that you've spent time working with on a one-on-one basis or through your practice?
I work with people out of MIT, incubators, CEOs, entrepreneurs, things like that. So a lot of high-performance people, but then I've also worked with, like, losers, let's say.
He's talking about whenever he did the stream with me.
So this is also more intensity. This is everything from 25-year-old kid who's living in his mom's basement playing video games all day, to people who are homeless. So I work with, like, basically the whole spectrum. And
you used the word losers there. You did little air quotes for anyone that can't see you right now. I'm really interested when you talked about incels as well, whether the way society is and the way that we're heading in terms of clarity over what it is to be a man has had any impact on those people that you refer to as incels. Like, because we now have this digital world.
I think that if you looked at most incels, and if you took, like, a graph of people that had a strong father figure, and like a sample size of people that had a strong father figure in their life, and people who didn't, I bet the people who didn't, there's a lot more incels. I mean, I feel like it's like a fucking, there's no way that's not true.
Live our lives in it.
Obviously, yeah.
The real world. And there's now more confusion than ever over what it is to be a man and the role of a man in a, and then we look at the stats around suicidality, and I think in Europe, the biggest killer of men under the age of 45 is themselves currently. Is the shifting idea of what it is to be a man having an impact on people's sense of self and their purpose?
100%. So he's right. There's a crisis that's going on in men, and people think that this is new, but I don't think it's new. It's always been new. So if you look at, like, even 50, 60 years ago, 80% of suicides are still going to be men. So historically, men have been killing themselves for like 100 years, and no one's been paying attention. We're just noticing now because the problem seems to be getting worse. So there's a couple of things that are really interesting to understand. So one is that if we look at what technology is doing to our brains, the first thing that it's doing is it is externalizing our attention. So if you look back, like, let's say 1,000 years ago, as human beings, we spent a lot more time with ourselves. So let's say that you and I go out hunting, and then
I always find it weird that people, like, I realized this in COVID, and I like, how many of you guys are like I'm an extremely introverted person. I like being by myself a lot of the time, and I don't like surprises or things like that. I'm very much basically a degenerate hermit. And during COVID, I was like, this is great. Everybody is respecting my
You have my
boundaries.
attention.
It's just totally fine. Nobody's imposing themselves on me. People aren't trying to get me to do things that I don't want to do. And I was happy. And then I saw all these videos of these people that weren't like me, and they were having, like, these depression issues, and they were, like, just getting sad, like, oh, I hate myself now. And it was so crazy for me to see that, because I think that for a lot of people, they fundamentally can't understand the way that the opposite feels, right? Extroverts can't understand introverts. And I think that also, like, this is a big spectrum. It's not like you're, it's not like a binary thing. But, like, for me, whenever I was like, whenever I would explain how I would feel to people, they would just tell me, oh, well, you just need to do it more. Or, oh, well, like, basically, I would tell them how I would feel, and then they would figure out a reason for why I felt that way. If that makes sense. They would try to be like, oh, well, you actually...
I'll keep you shielded
this way for, like, this other unrelated reason. Yeah, just be yourself, exactly. And so, like, they just could not comprehend the fact that I did not like what they were doing.
Say you shoot an arrow at a deer and you miss, and then I shoot an arrow at a deer and I hit.
Got him.
So in this moment, I'm superior to you. And then we pick up the deer and we're carrying it back, and then we have about 2 or 3 hours to take that emotional insult and we kind of process it. We just give our mind space to process it, which it does automatically. Now, if you look at what happens in people's days, they don't actually have any time to process what happens to them. because we are so constantly distracted by external things.
That's
so
true.
I don't know if you're like this, but I was in this point where I was idiotically efficient. So I would wake up in the morning and I would listen to a podcast while I'm like doing my exercise or whatever. And then even when I'm cooking, I'm listening to a lecture. And then like when I'm walking to the train, I have earbuds in and I'm listening to a lecture there. On the train, I'm reading. I wanted my life to be completely efficient. I didn't want to waste a single moment.
I literally listen to the news in the shower.
Right? So we don't want to waste time. And so if you really think about it, where's the attention of your mind? Your mind is pointed outside of you. And so
this is one of the reasons why I used to take breaks from streaming, is because like for me, and this is going to be like kind of, I don't really like talking a lot about this because I feel like the more I talk about how I feel, the more people realize that I'm insane. So like the more that I'm around other people, the more I hate other people and the more misanthropic I am. So like I will become like more hostile. I will become more of an asshole. I will just become more rude. Like I'll have more bad thoughts about things, etc. And whenever I'm not around other people, then I'm happy. So what I would have to do is I would have to just completely stop streaming. I would stop streaming. I would stop responding to people's messages. I would stop talking to people. I wouldn't interact with anybody for any reason. If they messaged me, I would just ignore them. And then after I did that for maybe like a few weeks or a month, then I would be happy again and I could deal with people again. And this was like a coping mechanism that I had. Now, obviously, as my life has evolved, I no longer have this coping mechanism. I can't do this anymore because I have too many responsibilities now. And I'm still I'm a pretty big asshole. You know, I am. And it's because I'm not able to I'm not able to be alone. Like if I was able to just like stop, if I was able to stop making content and nobody could message me or talk to me for a month, I would come back and I would be much happier.
Then what happens is once we do not pay attention to ourselves, we lose sight of our internal signals. Literally in the same way that if you raise a child in a dark cave, the photoreceptors in their eyes won't develop. They will atrophy. So anything that the mind does not get access to will start to atrophy. If I don't practice Spanish, I'm going to forget Spanish. The brain is a very efficient organ. So as we externalize our attention, we lose sight of our internal signals. We don't know who we are anymore. And now if I don't know who I am, how do I figure out who I'm supposed to be?
Well, you have to watch YouTube shorts about Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson talking about how to be a man. And that's what happens. I actually think that Dr. K here is bringing in a lot of really good points, and I think he's very right about this. Like, abso-fucking-lutely. I have the exact same response. I can tell you've changed. You're more blunt. You have a shorter fuse than normal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think what happens is, like, because people are never able to think about, like, who am I as a person? You know, they can never, you know, they just have somebody else tell them who they are instead. Now, boom, get diagnosed. Yeah, social battery is real. Well, I don't know whether it's real or not. Like, I can't talk about it for anybody else other than myself, really. But for me, it absolutely is real. And, like, I also have a lot of, like, for me, for example, like, I will have to do, it most days, I will have at least like 12 hours of my day that I don't really have control over in a way because I need to do something. And so like, that's like, and this is every day, right? I don't have like days where I have like a time off, right? Like it's seven days a week. Just live your life, be alone, don't need videos. Yeah, exactly. Is there any way you can change that? Not unless it is at a tremendous... The reason why I don't change it is because it would be at a tremendous detriment to other people who I care about and I want to help. That's the reason.
I pay attention to the outside. Where are the answers? They're on the outside. So this person is talking about masculinity, this person is talking about what it means to be a man, this person is talking about what it means to be a man. And now since I don't have any internal source of information, I'm trying to figure out what it means to be a man from the outside world.
Yeah.
And this is when men get truly fucked. Because what it means to be a man, we are getting all kinds of mixed signals. So on the one hand, it means being physically fit. On the other hand, it means being a provider. On one hand, it means having sex with as many women as you can find.
Yep.
On the other hand, it means having sex with just one woman and being a really solid man and being...
By the way, he's totally fucking right about everything here. Absolutely. 100%.
Good father. And then there's also people telling us that being a man means that you're shit, right?
Yeah.
That you're toxic, that your testosterone level makes you violent, that you're evil, that you're privileged, that there's patriarchy, all this kind of stuff. So we're getting all this information from the outside about what it means to be a man.
Yeah.
And so the other, like, there are all kinds of interesting ramifications of this. So men in today's society are not allowed to complain. So if you complain and you're a successful person or a privileged person, everyone is going to think you're arrogant. Everyone is going to think, oh my God,
people hate you.
Who's this fucking guy? This guy doesn't know what my life is like. How does he have any right to complain? And even your mind will tell you this. You'll look at these people and you'll be like, yeah, I don't have a right to complain. But now we need to stop for a second and think.
And this happens with everybody, right? Is that, like, I mean, this happens a lot with me, and I've learned this, is that, like, you can't look for sympathy in other people. You can never expect other people to understand what you're going through. You can never expect other people to, like, really care about you. You can only expect that you can care about yourself and do what's good for you. The moment that you put your well-being in the hands of somebody else, they're gonna drop you. They're gonna drop you. Whether you like it or not, it's gonna happen. True, fuck everybody else? Yeah, exactly. And I think this is especially true for, like, guys, and, like, as a streamer, right, it's like super true, because, like, whenever you're a streamer, people view it's like, oh, this is a really easy, like, bullshit job, and you just get paid a bunch of money. And it's like, you know, in a lot of cases it's kind of true, but the reality is that doesn't mean that person is immune from having a problem with other things in their life. So what ends up happening is that, like, you're not able to have feelings. You're not able to take things personally. You're not able to be a person. You are a product. And I think this is something that a lot of people have, like, other streamers and, like, content creators have a problem with, is that they can't be a person and they try to be a person, an object. And yeah, you are an object. Everybody is an object. You are. And I think that there is this like, people are trying to, like, hide from that reality, but you actually are. You're just an object. You're just a thing. That's it. And so as soon as you realize that and you could just accept that, I think, the sooner you can actually be happy and stop looking for other people to make you happy.
Think about what it does to your psychology when you as a human being are not allowed to articulate yourself.
Exactly.
I've worked with
you can't tell people how you feel. You can't do that. And the thing is that, like, maybe if you're really lucky, you can have, like, you know, a few friends and maybe a you know, a significant other, or a girl or a boyfriend that you can tell some stuff to. That's the best case scenario. To bite you in the ass, everybody know? Yeah, but you can never expect the world to see you and reinforce your existence.
Really?
Grown up in abusive households where children will say to their parents, "Mommy, Daddy, I'm hurting." And the parent smacks them across the face. How dare you? You're so lucky. You don't realize the sacrifices I make for you. It's traumatizing to the child when they say, "I am suffering," and no one listens.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit. I used to have this happen too. Like, anytime I would have a problem, there would always be somebody else who had a bigger problem, and then my problem doesn't matter. And for a long time, it bothered me. It always would bother me whenever this would happen. But as I got older, I started realizing, like, the people that are telling you this, why do you care what they think anyway? Like, doesn't really make a difference. Like, what is this? Like, are you, like, somehow, like, oh, that now they're gonna totally get to, you know, they're gonna understand you, or what's the point? Like, why are you trying to even make them see this in the first place? And I think that, like, yeah, tiered suffering is wild. Yeah, well, this happens all the time. Only women, kids and pets get unconditional love. I don't know about that. Always. because this is my opinion. I think most people
They
are
will
very
fall.
emotionally stupid. I think they're incredibly emotionally stupid, and they're also animals. I think people are fundamentally animals. And once you start looking at people like animals, then you can reorient your expectations for what they're going to do. And so that's how I see it. I view pretty much everybody as just an animal, and that's it. And I don't get disappointed about things or anything like that, because that's just that's just what an animal does, just the way it is. It's probably like not a good way to look at things, but it's definitely helped me cope with it. That's not true for me. I've been in the army, served people that I would die for, and care deeply for others. Always said empathy for others. Can't help it. Makes me very sad to think someone feels like they're not worth something. Yeah, I mean, definitely everybody's gonna have a different experience, but that's just what I think. Slightly insane comment. Oh.
What we're doing to a generation of men. People are saying, I am suffering. For 100 years, men have been killing themselves. 80% of suicides are men. The most dangerous man under 45 is themselves. And these people have been literally killing themselves because no one is. So in the same way that you grow up with as a child, in a household that's abusive, where no one takes you seriously, no one listens to you. And now we even have successful men who are not allowed to compete. So the psychological impact is the same.
Absolutely not. Yeah, if you're successful and things are going well for you, nobody will ever feel any pity or care about what's going on with you. Nobody will ever really give a shit, and to the extent that you look for their attention and you look for their sympathy, they'll hate you for it. It's the same thing with pretty girls, by the way. Like, how many times was like a pretty girl posted like, oh, I hate myself, I'm so unhappy, and then a bunch of guys are saying like, how can you be sad, you're so pretty? Yeah, it's the same thing.
Huh?
Anytime you have a human being who is suffering in some way and they cannot find connection with another human being, they cannot find compassion with another human being, that person is going to feel isolated. And it's very interesting.
Of course.
So the number one thing that correlates with male suicide is not depression. And this is super scary. There's one study that suggests that 50% of men who kill themselves have no history or evidence of mental illness.
Oh.
And this, I believe, is a statistic in my clinical practice because I know what depression looks like. I know what bipolar disorder looks like.
Yes?
Half the men that I work with are not actually mental illness.
Shit.
See, mental illness,
Help me, for heck's sake! Help!
Which means that the mind is malfunctioning. Most of the suicidal men that I work with, they're not. Their mind isn't malfunctioning. They genuinely have a life that is no longer worth living. They're looking.
Yeah, I never actually knew this was from the same podcast, the same video, but yeah, I remember seeing this and people got mad at him on Twitter for saying this. Dr. K, they got mad at him.
They killed one of our heroes.
He's completely fucking right. He's 100% right. Absolutely. Redditors were pissed about this comment. They were. And the reason why they were mad about it is that on the internet, there are like a lot of different levels of fakery that exist on the internet.
I'll make it quick.
And this, it's kind of like in real life where like,
you
you're
read
not
my mind.
supposed to act like, whenever somebody says, how's your day? You're not supposed to tell them that like you've had a bad day. You're supposed to say fine. But like, that's not really the truth. And there's like a lot of these like lies that in society
what do you
are
require?
expected to perpetuate.
What do we need?
And I think one of them is that everybody's life is worth living, and
They
you
won't
should
stand
never
a
feel
chance.
this way. No, it's like I felt this way many times myself. I think a lot of you guys.
Whatever's
probably felt this way
necessary.
too.
I'll
And
be
it's
swift.
not driven from like some sort
You
of like
read my-
weird like neurological problem. It's just like I don't like where my life is going. I'm not happy, right? Of course. Only every other day. Yeah, sure. And this is a logical perspective. It's not like,
Fine.
I'm feeling sad because, I didn't get something I wanted. It's lack of hope, yeah. Yeah.
Corporal?
More fighting. Does this never end?
Yeah.
So if we sort of look at what's going on with men, we're sort of, they have nowhere to turn to. And the number one thing that correlates with it is not mental illness, but is a sense of thwarted belonging.
Yes.
So this is kind of like,
For me,
Child's
this is
play.
the way I always felt. I was always like, well, why do I want to keep going in life when every single thing that's bad hasn't happened yet? Like, I've had all of the good things happen in my life, And now it's just going to be all the bad things. And I feel like, yeah, that's really, you think about it, it's kind of true. You know, what's there to look forward to? Exactly, yeah, it's coming. Yeah, it's just going to keep getting worse. So yeah, of course you'd feel that way.
Multivariate regression analysis. But basically what happens is what causes people to kill themselves is they try to connect with others and they get. So it's specifically a very specific research term called thwarted belonging. Try to belong to a group, and that group, multiple groups usually, will thwart to join the tribe, to join the community. And this is what actually correlates a lot with suicidality. So what's going on with that right now is that you really don't allow them to suffer, you know, because then you're not, and we're so externalized with our attention that we're not connecting with ourselves, so we're looking to other people
Internet
to tell
dads.
us what it means to be there. But that may or may not work for you, right? That may be what worked for them.
Help me for heck's sake, please. Sure.
We're disconnected from ourselves, and then like the world doesn't accept us. We're not
As you
allowed
want.
to suffer, and that's what
That's the way.
What is the remedy to this?
So I think the first thing is we must
Of
reconnect
course.
with ourselves.
Will do.
Right? So when you're kind of saying like, why does everyone think, oh, I need to like achieve this, I need to make this money and things like that. Where did you learn that you should do all that? You learned all that from the outside. Instagram, right? So we get fed all of these ideas because if you look at all these influencers, what are they doing? They're never crying. They're smiling. Some of them will even pay.
Well, whenever they are crying, people hate them for it. Because as an influencer, you're not a person, you're a thought. You're an object, you're like a thing. And the moment that you try to be seen as a person is the moment you stop being an influencer at that point. Because people aren't going to see you as a person. You're a thing, you're a commodity. You're an entity, you're a consumable item. It's like a can of soda. That's it. Is this how you view yourself? It is. And I think that as soon as I started viewing myself that way,
I do.
I've done a little research on that.
Sure.
Whoa!
This is amazing. What the heck just happened?
Yeah. It seems like our...
Not sources, Tahar.
Well, I'm definitely pain.
Pardon?
Rekindling this place. You mean those who connected themselves to this place, and whatever wipe...
Well, fascinating or not, we need to connect our minds to the...
No.
Well, we knew that. Let's head to Aenir's Blade. It's a long journey, but we don't have a choice.
Feelings about it. Like and this is something that I've learned over the years, is that there's never been something that like the way that I felt about something emotionally with like my stream ever made like my life better in any way ever. You have to separate the two? Oh yeah, it's always good to have a good separation. And I see streamers that do you think men take life too seriously?
Let us... Yes, Corporal?
I do. I think that so
How can I
many
help?
people, like, I've
Yes,
known a lot
Corporal?
of people like this in my
Well,
life,
why do you want to know?
Because I...
Because she needed the coin. That is it.
Well, it doesn't make it better. It's life. I just...
Well, now you do.
Well, I used to feel strong.
I won't talk about that. So, tell me, Pariah, how did you become the betrayer's child in the first place?
That's simple.
A monster? Either way, is there an...
Yeah,
I don't know if this is the right moment for this conversation.
Exciting it. True. That's one word, but anyway, we still need that Tahar.
It's still...
Yeah. Did I get to ask you a personal question? Fair enough. I was born. So, on the contrary, they were quite accepting. Aenir's tools depends. There's that they smiled at me, talked of me as hardly. Yeah, we met. Well, if you don't do that, you're frowned upon. There's even a word for a childless dwarf, man or woman. Galrat. Well, and once again, the Shapers. Yeah. The Blacks. Yeah. Forgive me. Yeah. Then he left. It's all right. In the end, I left my family a letter. Not directly. Yeah.
Right.
Now, I was wondering.
And to be honest,
Anything.
in general. It's like I say I only date crazy girls because the only girls
Honestly,
that would date me are crazy.
Yeah.
And that's
Either way.
a fucking
Sure.
fact. But the truth
Take
is
care,
that,
Scrum.
yes, whenever I started dating this girl, holy fuck, people went absolutely insane about this. They were so mad about it. And crazy girls, exactly. And anyway, me being less personal about it, not necessarily. I just like... It was that bad? It was. People absolutely hated her, and then like the problem is that then she was
Tahar,
getting a lot of hate, and
what
then
is it?
she'd be mad at me.
There's
and
good
it's
yeah.
like, yeah,
And
of course, because it's from my
It's not that
community.
far off. I mean, can't you imagine? With the power...
really
I'm sad you
bad.
see it that way.
It was awful.
Tahar, what is it?
Wanna
I'll
just
be
some
off.
chill? Yeah, that's
As you
because
want.
you're not the people that like, whenever I brought her on my stream, tons of people stopped watching. And they were really mad about it. They were
Finally.
like, I can't believe you would talk to her. Like, this
Careful.
is wrong. Like, she's just using you. Like, and yeah,
That
they
you-
were really,
But
really
of
mad.
course you don't admit to
And I
it.
guarantee
Well,
if I ever
So
do it
in-
again and she's on
you make
stream,
it sound so...
people will say,
No, we should aspire to a lot of things. But tell me, Tahar,
what the fuck?
That's-
That's just
as
the way it is.
what? No. What we need is a way to channel our urges. Ceremonial battle. Anyway,
And I think also
where was...
a lot of guys,
All right.
if it's a hot girl, they
Sure.
get jealous. And so
How
they're
do-
like,
and-
well, you shouldn't have
Complicated.
that girl, that's not
Are you
fair.
sure you want to hear the whole story?
It's really
Time
easy.
isn't exactly on our... We're not fighting for you, Tahar.
Yeah,
We
definitely.
are fighting alongside each other.
alongside.
Good. Let's make it...
And how does one
He has to be my trouble. Everybody was asleep. No.
make sense? What?
With not even a minute, all the tents in the village had been flooded. The fire wasn't extinguished right away, but was quickly put out.
That's impressive.
Well, all of a sudden.
How did
Also, my siblings became withdrawn. Jealousy, of course, but
I'm sorry.
don't be dramatic. Yeah, it was hard, yes.
Interesting.
Did
All right.
Huh?
What?
When I was young, in the beginning, I can't.
Why?
Oh, so you see why? Sure. No, Tahar. Except.
I'll be off.
We as both these beings get to express what we feel. Now, in the case of me expressing anger and her expressing sadness, she's crying and I'm yelling. Suddenly, I
Yes? Yes?
It's so interesting. I saw a viral
Yes?
tweet yesterday. It was someone Googling.
Yeah, for me, like, I'm kind of a weird guy. And you can ask any girl that I've ever talked to or anything like that. I have never yelled at another person in my life. Outside of like in a video game or something like that, and even that is in like a video game, right? So, like, I'm talking about like it personally. Like, I've never yelled at another person. I just, why not? Because the reason why not actually is because if I get really mad at someone, I will want to kill them. And I don't have like an off switch for like my emotions.
What?
So I keep myself like really, really low. That's the real reason. Is like if I get really, really angry, that's the way that I'll feel. And so I just try not to feel that way. Rosie's red? Yeah, I get really, really mad. And so that's why I stopped.
Now would
doing
you
that.
look at that?
Intriguing.
And I realized that whenever I was like a little kid too. And so that's the real reason. Fair? Yeah, no, that's actually it.
Is yelling at me, what should I do? And then my husband is yelling at me, what should I do?
Right.
When they Googled, my husband is yelling at me, what should I do? Domestic violence helpline comes up. It's like a Google
Yeah, I've seen this.
pop up. When you Google, my wife is yelling at me, what should I do? Nothing comes up.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
obviously,
and also like another big reason for this is because if you look at deaths in domestic violence, it's like probably 90% women that are getting killed. Like, there are a lot of women initiate domestic violence, but way more men finish it. Way more men finish it. That's just the way it is. It's because men are bigger and stronger. That's the way it is.
as you said, in the case of villainization, I know that most domestic violence comes from men, but
You picked the wrong enemies.
We interpret the emotions entirely differently because of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's
We as a
burn
society
them.
will say like, oh, men need to be in touch with their emotions, but not anger. And then this is what really screws men, because as men, we are socialized and conditioned to only feel anger. This is the only emotion you're allowed to feel as a man growing up. And this is the one emotion that gets demonized when you're older. So I'll give you a simple example. So like I used to get bullied a lot. right? So when I get bullied in school, like, what am I supposed to do, Stephen?
In school, well, it depends if you can fight back.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? It's fighting back. Like, you didn't say talk to the teacher. You didn't say ask for help. You didn't say cry about it, because if I cry about it, what's going to happen, Stephen?
You're gonna get bullied more.
Absolutely. So we turn every emotion.
Understood.
Men experience anger as something called an umbrella emotion. We literally suppress and are conditioned to suppress all other emotions except for anger. And then if you talk to men about their experience of life, anger is always the first thing that comes out of their mouth.
Yeah, for me, growing up, I was
I
taught
am
very
ready.
much, don't get mad. Don't yell at people. Don't act this way at all. Like, for me, that was the case. Like, yeah, it was don't act like anything. Right? If you get upset or anything like that, it's a very bad thing to have happen. Don't get mad, get even. Yeah. That's basically what I was taught growing up. Exactly. Did you ever throw your skateboard? Yep. Absolutely. I threw it at other people even too. Yeah, at the park. Yep.
What's next?
Someone breaks up with you, how do you feel about it? Do you
Yes.
say, no, that's not what you say.
Corporal?
I feel pissed off.
Zaraka.
How could she do this to me? And then we vent that anger on the internet, and then this turns into misogyny, right? And then we get demonized for it, and it's not that there isn't.
Yes.
We should be harshly judged if we act on those kinds of emotions. I'm not saying that that's the case. But what we also need to consider is that the men who are saying these kinds of toxic things are saying that for a reason. This is because of their upbringing. This is because of the world that they lived in, right? So we're conditioned to.
Yeah, I think think Dr. K brings up a really good point, and it's because like guys can't really have any sort of they can't really have any sort of like outlet for these emotions, and if they do have the outlet, everybody hates them. I think that's what happens more than anything else. I've destroyed everything I've ever bumped against my head, ripped every cupboard ever. Oh yeah, I've broken tons of stuff too. It's been fine. Didn't touch on a cheating. If a guy's pissed because a girl's cheating on him, then he's the reason. Well, I think also the issue is that, like, I think that a lot of times, like, girls will defend other girls for things that they shouldn't be defending. And then
The
try to, like,
field
see it from
dark.
the other perspective.
What may
And
sound
I
like a
see this
myth
happen
or
with
horror
guys
story
as
to
well.
many
It's
is
like the
harsh
older
reality
Chris
for the
Brown beat the
200
shit out of
Iron
Brianna,
Falcons
and
of the
they're like,
canyon
yeah, but what did
named
she say to him?
Aeneas Blade.
It's like,
Huh, quite the view. So that's where the Iron
Stop it.
Falcons guard the field dark.
What do you mean? What did she
Well,
say to him? Yeah, she
whatever
started
we
it.
do,
No, I don't want to hear that.
we need to be
And,
careful.
it's crazy.
This
the way
place
that people
reeks
do
of
this.
death and decay.
I know.
It's just so
We'll go in,
insanely
get the
fucking
stone, and
toxic,
leave.
too.
Maybe we won't even need to send in our army. Let's scout the area.
Even sadness gets turned into anger. Shame gets turned into anger. Fear gets turned into anger. Right? So if I'm afraid of something happening, what do I need? I need man up. Get angry, right? Like, let's go,
Sure.
son. Let's go.
Yeah.
This
Understood.
is the that we tap into to overcome fear. So we don't feel those other emotions, and we're left only feeling anger.
I'll do what's required.
And the thing is that, like, whenever you act on that, everybody hates you for it too. Like, this is the thing, and I've had this experience.
Wait, you're right. They.
myself. Like, I
What
remember
is
one
it?
time I was
I think
playing
I just
baseball, and
saw something.
The person who was like pitching
course.
the baseball.
These bones,
shit
a seer?
to her, making
someone
her
with the gift of true
And so
sight.
I was actually
Maybe even
pretty
one of the
good at it.
Falcons. They
And
must
so
have
I hit
used
the
his
ball
abilities for
directly
tactical.
in their face. And bro,
Blazes.
like there was blood on
It
their face.
works.
Like I was like 7 or 8
I can
years
see
old
that-
at the time. I hit them, and I was like,
Huh.
bro. Whenever
Seems
I
that
hit
these
them, I
bones
was
can only
so
show one-
Fucking happy. I was like, yes, I got
Fascinating.
him, right? And then everybody was like, you're fucking like, how did you do this? How could you do this? You're such a bad person. And nobody liked me after that. Couldn't do that twice? Well, I did it once. That was enough. Yeah. And so if you act on these emotions, people won't like you even more. That's it. Laughed at Harry. It was a
Full
good one.
disbelief.
Either way,
Yeah, dang.
this might be
Did you
useful
like
against the
yourself?
undead.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
So yeah, you can never act on the if you act on your emotions, it is, in my opinion, 9 times out of 10 a bad idea.
Yes.
9 times out of 10, always a bad idea. You hit him on pace, on purpose? Yeah. Of course.
Anything on your mind?
Duh. Where else would you want to hit him?
I had someone say to me once that at the very
Got
heart
it.
of aggression,
Told them
some
we
kind
shouldn't
of
do it.
insecurity.
Char's breath.
But for men, when
what?
they
I said
encounter that
no.
insecurity,
What?
they
No.
only
No,
know how
Mother.
to sort of
It's too late for
manifest
him,
it as
Mother.
aggression.
So I wouldn't agree
He's
with the
gone.
first thing
He was
that
an Iron
part of all
Falcon.
anger is
Seems that
insecurity,
something
but I would
happened down in that
absolutely
canyon.
agree with the second thing that
Let's be wary.
the way that the only way we know how to respond is with anger. Because
Here's the exact quote, just found it. The source of aggression is insecurity, as we are unconsciously aware that our position in life is never secure. People feel increasingly insecure and helpless, so they will be increasingly aggressive and confrontational at a personal and a social level.
So let's tunnel down into that.
I think that's true.
Okay, so I think that that is true on some level, but also I would disagree. So the first thing is that we have
Zarek
parts of
guides
the brain,
me.
even animals feel anger. But I think that like when two dogs are fighting over territory, I don't think that that's born of some kind of
I'll be
identity
swift.
of insecurity. Right, so if we really look at like
Here
the
we go.
evolutionary purpose of
Undead.
anger, it's my opinion,
Another bad
is that
sign.
anger is
The Falcons are supposed to defend the entrance of the valley.
It's a protective emotion. So if I slap you across the face, what's the first thing that you're going to feel? So by default, it's fascinating. So
I do feel like most people are angry at someone who like poses a
As
threat
you
to
want.
them one way or another. I do think
I'll do what's
insecurity comes
required.
from a lot of the places of like being angry. Yeah,
Sure.
even a dog would be insecure of its territory.
be faster. Anger causes our peripheral vision to collapse to 30 degrees. So I only see what's in front of me. And it also makes me less sensitive to pain. So like my nociceptors will actually like start to be suppressed when I feel angry, right? So if I get into a fight, I'm gonna feel it tomorrow, but like while I'm getting hit, so I don't think it's born of all insecurity. I think anger is simply an evolutionary response. It's something
Prepare
that we experience
yourselves.
to protect ourselves. That's why we feel angry, right? So if I attack baby bear, mama bear is gonna come out angry. So it's really a protective emotion. Now, I agree with the second part of the statement 100%, that when we feel insecure, especially as men, the only way we are taught to deal with our problems is through anger. Right? So if I'm feeling insecure, if I'm feeling ashamed of myself, if someone's bullying me, what do I do?
Yeah, for me growing up, this was not an option. Like, this was not the case with me. Like, because I would get, bro, like the only way I could get mad and it was okay is if I could maybe throw my controller around or, you know, like hit my keyboard. That was it. Anything more than that was not allowed.
Put them in their place, right? I don't try to make peace. I don't complain to someone because no one's going to take me seriously, right? I have to stand up for myself.
So we've got the first point there about how we remedy this challenge, which is about self-expression, more self-expression. That's what I heard.
Not self-expression, introspection.
Introspection, getting to know ourselves.
Right? So it's very simple. So if you look at your idea of what it means to be a man, what percentage of that idea comes outside of you? And what percentage of that idea comes from within you?
About 90% comes from outside of me.
And that's why 90% of people, we're 90% fucked. Right? So, and if you look, and I'm sure you know this, and you've probably done this too, if you look at where is the goodness in your life, where does it come from, Stephen? It doesn't come from what other people have told you. They may have told you something, but then you looked within yourself and then you found that to be true.
Usually comes from Chipotle for me. That's, I would say, most of the time, or maybe McDonald's. But yeah, I mean, sometimes other people can say something nice too. Sure. That happens.
The goodness in you, the motivation, the really good motivation in you, not chasing things, but the duty that you have, you know, everything that you really strive for, all that good stuff comes from inside you. And the problem is that we live in a world that pulls our attention away from ourselves.
Is that it? Yeah, that's it.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.
Yeah, it's actually, that's 15% is pretty good. I'll go ahead and link you guys the video. Yeah, I wanted to watch this. I thought it was kind of interesting, and it got recommended to me kind of randomly, and I figured I would talk about it because I think there's a lot of people that feel that way too. Interesting conversation. Yeah, 15% is very good. It is. I would say so. Recommend you a full podcast off stream. It's awesome. Yeah, this is a great great little podcast. Diary of a CEO clips. Which percentage of people watch your YouTube or subbed? I have no idea. I don't, if you want me to be honest, I don't even look at my analytics. I don't look at my analytics. I just look at like how many people, what people think about the video. They like it? Okay, cool. And that's about it. Yeah, you unliked? Oh, I did. I didn't realize that. Yeah, there we go. Generally, that's the case. External
Understood.
motives won't last forever. Internal ones are more consistent and are better driving force through hard times. For me, I just I try to not think about the way that I feel as much as I can, and I just kind of try to act and like just do things, and then generally I find that like the more that I sit around and like think about how I feel about a situation, the worse I will feel.
For the fire
Like things will
wielders!
just be worse. It's not like there's never going to be a point where like I can think about this enough where like, okay, fine, can you vent to people in your personal life? I never do. I never do. Outside of like very certain things, like, you know, there's a lot of stuff I'm dealing with. It's kind of annoying. I'm stressed out. But other than that, no. Never.
Why are we not talking about how fucking sick a 40-hour work week is? I'm so sorry. So you're telling me that I have to wake up with a fucking butt cracking on every single day, go and work somewhere that has fluorescent lighting?
I mean, that's not what I would have complained about, but okay.
Cold and uncomfortable for the entirety of the day, and do that 5 times a week? No, like that's not what you said.
It will be bloody.
You guys are mentally ill. Like, please get diagnosed. Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to work anymore. What about it? What about it?
Whatever's necessary. Understood.
But I'm gonna try to sympathize. I think Gen Z is dealing with the same.
No, I felt the same exact way whenever I was young. I said, why the fuck do I want to get a job? You know how much time that's gonna take away from my life? Like, I gotta spend hours at this fucking. I don't want to do this shit. Like, bro, I'm trying to chill with the boys. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Problems that millennials have to face, and that's realizing that you ain't special. With the rise of media in the 90s and the rise of social media in the 2000s, people were told that they can do whatever they put their mind to, and that's not true. The truth of the matter is, most people hate their job. Nobody's passionate about folding pants at the Banana Republic.
That's
and
probably
some people
true.
don't realize, technically, you don't have to work. You can go harvest your own time and build your own business in the woods.
They will burn.
With the nice lighting, and you gotta pay somebody because somebody had to work for you.
That's
but
right.
to be fair and to sympathize with her a little bit more, inflation does kind of ruin it for everybody. Because not only does it make everything more unaffordable for Gen Z, but it also takes away from the work that you've already put in to earn the money that you've been saving. Because now that money is worth less than it was before. But she does make it hard to sympathize because I know what that is. That little fake, I'm about to whine voice. It's very easy to hate.
Day in the life as a 23-year-old product manager at Meta.
That to-do list is just a great
work out and vibe.
It says work out, and vibe.
Yeah, see, those are the people that, you know, it's like whenever Twitter did those layoffs, I've got a feeling that she probably would have been in that 80%, you know?
Is there anything you need?
You can't make this shit up! Always journal in the morning, and then
Let's see.
quick workout routine. I get dressed, I try
Interesting.
to look cute every day, got some food at the office, I make a coffee every single
Now,
morning.
would you look at
I
that?
did some work on the roof, worked until lunch, and then ate up there. Here's me being cute.
Interesting.
As of May 2024, the average salary for a product manager at Meta in the United States was $186.
If she's 23 and she got that job, I think that, you know, I got an idea where her mom or dad works. You know, I got a guess.
For the fire wielders!
That's the one shit that people don't really keep in mind is the fact that the people who are in this situation, like the biggest advantage and privilege that people that grow up wealthy have is networking and access to opportunities like that. So it's not that like the parents can send them to a good school. It's the fact that the parents know the person who works at a company because they used to work there and get them a job like that, right? It's about who you know. It is.
I understand.
It's about who you know. Now, it's not. This dude's his dad's the president. He's still a crackhead, right? He's still a crackhead. So it's like, despite
I'll be swift.
everything going in his favor,
Let's see.
he's still a crackhead. So it's not like it's a guarantee, but it makes it easier, man. It definitely makes it easier.
How you
I'll do what's required.
I know Mark Zuckerberg seen this video and he was pissed.
No, I understand the dude's got a bad life in a lot of cases. Like, yeah, 100%, right? But everybody's got problems that they have, and, you know, you gonna be a crackhead, that's bad. I hope Hunter Biden runs for president and he runs, like, crackdown on crime, you know? Like, you know, a logo like that, like, honestly, like, I hope he does that. That'd be fucking funny. Yeah, good spawn point. Yeah, bro, like, he spawned like crazy. The parents are the problem? Yeah, I mean, I don't think the parents are the problem in a lot of cases.
We'll make short work of them.
It's definitely a factor. It can be.
Wait, get rid of her ass.
You're fired! Yeah, she's gone.
For the fire wielders!
2023 meta fired about 15,000 people.
I wonder
They
who
plan
this
on
is.
firing another 10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
ain't gonna lie,
interesting.
y'all, and I know this might be pessimistic, but I think the companies are just waiting to replace us with AI. At this point,
That's not pessimistic, that's smart. Of course that's the case. Of course that's what's happening. It's not even a question. Why would you want to have some girl like this that shows up and it's like makes, you know, working at the company lifestyle? And also, like, I gotta
Prepare
we gotta
yourselves.
also like keep it from like another perspective. She could be amazing at her job. She could be like
picked the wrong
insanely
enemies.
amazing and super competent at her job, and the reason why they let her fuck around is because she's that good at it. Because you can see in some like software engineering companies where everybody's wearing a suit and they're all like in their 20s, and there's one guy in the back who's 47 and he's wearing like pajama pants and a Thor t-shirt.
Sure.
And it looks like he hasn't showered in a week, and he's getting paid more than probably all of them put together. Yeah, because he's the only one who knows how to use the ancient system and, you know, make sure it works with the new system and ensure a transition to the new system. So yeah, exactly.
They will
Dr.
fall.
House, yes. So
Will do.
There are instances of people that are clowns that are actually just so insanely good
You
at
read
their
my
job
mind.
that, you know,
It will
the
be bloody.
company's like, oh, well, you know, we can be a circus for somebody, right? Definitely. Yeah, ABC always be cheating. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, like, that's what I did at the IRS. I thought that mindset too. I was
Understood.
like, well, listen, like, I'm kind of an idiot and I do things wrong, but I'm gonna work as hard as I can so they don't want to get rid of me. Like, that's it, because I knew I would fuck up. Like, I planned to fuck up. I planned to be an idiot. I planned to get in trouble because I knew that that shit would happen even if I tried not to, because it's me. That's just what's gonna happen.
buying time until they can get rid of them.
Yeah.
All the workers were complaining about their jobs being replaced by AI, and nobody cared. But the moment those white-collar jobs were getting replaced by AI, people started to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly, because a lot of plumbers don't have what a lot of social media managers do. So it's like people in the entertainment industry, big surprise that, you know, accounts and websites that are built around the entertainment industry, they're the ones that are creating the narrative.
I'll make
I
it
think
quick.
he's totally fucking right about this. And this isn't some sort of like news information, like, oh my god, wow, I can't believe this new thing is happening. Absolutely not. This has been going on for years. It's been going on for 100 years. Like, we used to have assembly lines, now we don't.
I understand.
We used to have, you know, people that like connect calls, now we don't. We used to have people that put coal into a fucking train. Now we don't. We used to have people that took care of horses. Now they're
As you
mechanics
want.
for cars.
All right.
So yes.
The Falcons are definitely
Now
in.
we have food stamp lines. Well, I mean, some people, we had that then too. How will you replace a plumber with a robot? It will be very hard.
Those
to.
soldiers are not just
I think
Falcons.
that if you were to have like an abstract answer, in 500 years from now, I think that most homes and housing will be made with like certain types of like universal conformities, the same way as like you know, like on almost every single machine, the power button is like the power button is like this. I think that it will become like basically modernized, right? And like you know, it's made into the same like heavy utility. Yeah, there'll be a standard, right? Upside down, yeah, I'm not very good visually, but modular, yeah, it'll be modular. And so that's what I think will happen in 500 years. Now, what will happen in 50 years? Probably nothing. But yeah.
Operation in America is because more than ever, people are just living through this. Compare her to these guys. world the same? Which type of person?
I'll do what's
You gotta
required.
also keep in mind that like these guys are probably getting paid more than $186,000 a year. Like these dudes make fucking bank, and the reason why is because this shit is fucking hard. It is insanely brutal. Right, working on an oil rig or something like this. Oh my God, some do. Yeah, obviously some do, some don't, right?
Fine.
But like, yeah, this is a serious job. I think that the better comparison is like,
Another
'cause, like,
death
these guys,
man?
at least they're getting
Death man?
paid like crazy,
What is
right?
that?
They're
Now,
getting
would
really
you
great
look
money
at that?
for what they're doing.
The fabled
What
falcons
really
have called
sucks
for
is people that work in,
reinforcements.
like, fast
They look a
food,
bit old,
people that work
though.
in,
Hi,
like, you know,
Keeper
like
Aranor.
roadside construction.
And a hint
Like,
of
yeah,
respect.
they're paid
Yeah,
well,
I know.
but,
You
like,
folk would
nothing
kill
like
for your
this.
formalities and
other people
traditions.
that just
We're
work in,
not
like,
reinforced.
general, like,
Oh,
physical
then-
labor,
It's
but they're not really
complicated.
getting paid a lot of money.
To put it shortly,
Neat elves?
no,
Over 180K?
Shaper.
Energy stone?
Yeah,
Well, I
they
hate to
probably do,
shatter your
actually.
treasure hunting.
Yeah,
The
I
Iron
bet they probably
Falcon.
do. Yeah, oil is harder. Yeah,
You make it
exactly.
sound
I
as
bet
if
they
we
do.
forgot to lock the door.
I have.
Well, most people think that it only affects the living. That's wrong. The blood burn has enough. No need to be.
It doesn't matter. And these
8 days ago, yes. We were forced to retreat, and now they are continuously pushing us back. We're losing.
Damn it. No idea how precise these shaper maps are.
I can hear you. And I...
Lady Aranor, come to...
Shut up. As I said, I believe I know which stone you're talking about. What do you want it for?
I'm working for someone who wants to.
Huh. Look, stranger. If circumstances were different, we might discuss this. But
We can't do that.
You?
We in our army, which is with. We are not.
Well, this just got a hold.
No. Whoever you are, there's no way on EO the Iron Falcons will cooperate. As I said, go back to where you came from and let us handle this. We've protected a...
Look at those legs, like pillars. If only she had half as much wits as she had muscle, this whole dilemma. Come to my camp if you want to talk.
Good luck, stranger.
Work, eat at my desk, work again, and then gym, and then eat, and then sleep, and then repeat that over.
That's right.
For like 5 days straight. And I'm
Sure.
going insane, bro. And I need a change in career so bad. So if any of you can help me out, I would be super grateful. I have a business degree, and I
I'll be
graduated
swift.
from UCI. I have president's
Well, you
list.
shouldn't have got a business degree. I have a business degree too.
Of course.
I learned more from business from World of Warcraft, though. I'll tell you that. Yeah, like let's be honest, right? Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? There's nothing unreasonable about our concerns here. Trading so much of your life to barely live isn't good. Yeah, no, I think that's the case. Yeah. Use his business degree to start a business. Yeah, I mean, it's bad, man. It's bad.
It's on my transcript.
That way.
Please just
All
help
right.
me get
Understood.
out of this job. If you can suggest anything,
Yeah.
or if you can get me a referral to one of the companies you're working at, I would be extremely grateful because I have no time for anything right now. I just feel like I'm going crazy. So.
If she needs her
Yep.
parents to help
What
her
do you
pay rent,
require?
she's not ready to be alone. She needs to be at home saving her money, not spreading her
He's fucking right about this.
Will
Why
do.
are you even living by yourself if you're
Zarek
you know,
guides me.
if like your parents aren't there, like what are you doing that for, right? So is the guy living at home? Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. That's it. The
Understood.
thing is also like a lot of people get degrees because
I'll be
that's
swift.
what they're supposed to do. But most people don't get
Got it.
degrees to get a job, or like they do, but it's like some sort of like abstract connection. Like I'm gonna get a business degree and then I'm gonna be the president of a company. Like, well, there's gonna be something that happens in the middle of that probably, right? Whereas like the people that get degrees for things
Thanks
that
for
are
coming
like
back.
directly useful,
Any
like,
help,
or-
that
and
is.
this is also, like,
Our
trade
sisters and
degrees as
brothers are
well,
still in
like,
the fortress,
IT
and I'm
degrees,
afraid they won't make it
obviously,
much
like,
longer.
computer,
So?
systems
Well,
degrees, like a
she
programming
is our
degree.
leader,
Apparently this
so-
isn't,
There has
you know,
been
as much the
so
case
much
as it was
death
10
in
years
your
ago.
ranks.
From
Do you
what I
really?
Well,
hear,
I
this is,
fully
you
agree
know,
with you.
not a lot.
We have lost
But,
far too much time already.
you know, IT isn't
2 days
great.
ago,
Well, I
one
gave
of our
it as an
brothers
example,
deserted.
right?
Find him
Engineer or
and bring
something
him
like
back
that.
to High Keeper Aranor. That should help you win her trust.
Catra said the death.
That man says a lot when the day is long. I hope you're not seriously...
You said that the blood burn.
It still does. Every second night or so, our mage...
Have you-
Well, most of us are magically gifted one way or the other, so hardly. But there have been
That's harsh. Can't you just reclaim them?
We've tried, but these undead, they are different. It's almost like this.
So the Deathmen are...
It's actually pretty simple. A relic. They were hired by some...
And it's here?
Yes, but in our possession. And since it's a relic of the Guardians, we are obliged to protect... Oh, this wouldn't be a problem if the undead hadn't taken our fortress. There's no way this group of cutthroats would have breached the walls. But now they want to help.
That's a brazen move.
I agree. Even if the Guardians are watching us and judging our actions that very moment, they must see that the tomb of the File Darg and our brethren who are still in the fortress are more important than the helmet. The Deathmen refuse to help as long as the Keeper doesn't swear to hand over the artifact and...
I'll think about it.
Well, don't think...
We should think this through, Tahar. I'm sure we can only get on the good side of one of them.
Her budget from her job, and I think like her pay, like her salary is like $75,000. In the video, she said that she, her statement for her credit card was like $2,100.
Stay away! I'm not going back!
Whole, like,
I take it you're the...
Deserter! I'm the only one with a hint of reason.
What do you mean by...
Isn't it obvious? That whole thing, it's ridiculous. Our brethren are because she's too proud. She hides it behind the Falcon Way and our traditions. But that's nonsense. Yeah, sure. The Falcons are purely... Instead, she's planning this...
She's planning an...
You didn't know?
It's crazy to
yes,
me that...
tomorrow at night.
If I bring you back...
I don't know.
Kind of like not, it's
I'm
like
a still
camping,
just
whenever you think about it.
Sort of.
That you have these credit card
Don't lay off the blame. You made a choice, and now you have to face the consequences. Now move.
To people that had just turned 18, and they're getting spawn killed right there after the kid doesn't even know statistics because they learned about Algebra 2 instead. So the kid doesn't know math, and he's getting farmed for a 23% interest rate. And by the time they're 25, they've got $100,000 in debt.
Yes, and I will gladly accept my punishment.
What the fuck?
But please, High Keeper, at least consider the offer.
We'll see. Now get back to your post, Keroy. The undead aren't waiting for you.
High Keeper.
They don't understand it. Yeah, you're
careful.
Right. But like,
I'll take a look.
Now would you High Keeper Aranor?
I know what you did. You brought back Scion Merrick. Keroy told me all about his little plan.
So, will you let us help you or not?
Fine. Yes, I will. Bring in that army of yours and we'll see if we can deal with the undead together. Though I'm still not sure how I like the idea of working with an offspring of the dark races.
When it comes to dealing with the undead, we are not that different.
Is that so? Well, I guess we need to try. Talk to Keroy, my second-in-command. He'll show you where you can set up an outpost.
Maybe they are living credit card statement to credit card statement.
Yes, because credit card...
Yeah, because, and I bet a lot of the people, like everybody that I know that has a lot of credit card debt, almost everybody that I know, not every single person, actually now that I think about it, is incredibly irresponsible with what they do with their money.
He's older than he looks and one of the most capable keepers.
Super
so yes,
fair enough.
Good.
And like if I go through and I see what somebody's spending
what's
their money
required.
on, I'm like,
Yes?
I do.
Finally, some good news. Well, yeah, traditionally the Falcon...
Lead the way.
3 drinks plus the cover charge.
Got it.
He spent billions of dollars in marketing campaigns to make sure 18-year-olds were $10,000 in the
As you want.
Here, this is a good place to build your outpost. Once you're all set up and your army has arrived, we'll discuss further steps.
Yeah, debt is good for a small minority of people that know how to leverage it.
Debt is good for somebody
I think we're
who
set.
understands
You are.
business and
Though I
is using
certainly
it
didn't
to,
expect your army to be a bunch of
leverage
sellswords.
to more
I hope
money
they're
for
not
real
just here
estate
for
or
the
something like
Wayfarers
that.
Your word, and since you've also brought some
you're not
craftsmen
that
with you.
guy.
Tower.
Yes, they
You're
are
like a
ancient
19-year-old.
Hibernian.
Debt
Understood.
isn't good for
Once we've
you.
gained enough...
What?
There's an old...
All right.
Like, they're
Do
pulling
that.
out-
And
they're taking on
I'm
debt
glad
to
you came
buy,
along.
like, real estate
That attacked the
properties
high...
they can sell.
Madam!
You're taking on debt to buy the new iPhone. These aren't the same thing.
But for most hardworking
Yeah,
people, it's just going to
PlayStation
get them
5.
into misery. And if you're religious, I don't think any of the major religions say anything good about debt. I know in Christianity it says that the borrower is a slave to the lender. You ain't got to compare your life to other people.